What's going on, guys? What's the crack? Today we have another amazing video from Ben Scallion and Gript Media. This is getting quite interesting, guys. I'm reacting to a ton of their stuff now because it's very interesting, a lot of their articles. I totally forgot to react to their stuff, guys, because obviously Irish media is a massive part today of the entertainment that people get. And I say entertainment because a lot of people get their news and stuff, but it's also kind of to entertain you, alright? A lot of people don't understand. It's like the beginning of Training Day. If anybody has ever seen Training Day, when he's reading the newspaper and the new partner comes in and he says, "Why you keep talking? I'm trying to have entertainment because I'm reading the newspaper." So a lot of people get their entertainment and news from that. Well, hopefully Ben Scallion, he can entertain us just as well and also give us information that's really unbiased and represents the country quite well. So this one today is called Misinformation, Irish Government Embraces Social Media Censorship, Gript Media. I wonder how Gript Media, actually, if anyone works at Gript Media, could you drop a comment down below and tell me if you guys have ever got videos removed, like if you've ever got any YouTube videos removed. It'd be very interesting to actually see that. So let's get it, guys.
Irish government moves to stamp out so-called misinformation. We should do well to remember that these are the same politicians that even want to ban true content that they find personally embarrassing. This is Ben Scallion and you're watching Gript Media.
Yeah, so misinformation can be interpreted in a bunch of different ways, guys, right? Definitely in a bunch of different ways it can be interpreted. So, a lot of times nowadays if you just question anybody, they say that's misinformation, that's disinformation. It's like, well, we're just questioning the narrative. We're just having an open discussion here. But you can't even do that nowadays.
Comment, because by liking, commenting and sharing, this channel will get boosted in the algorithm and get seen by more people.
Obviously, guys, go like, subscribe, comment on their stuff. I always say that, so hopefully I promote their stuff a little bit.
And so with that said, on to the video. Listen up, people. The Irish government is on a recruitment drive. They're setting up a new Spec Ops Delta Force Elite Action Man Power Ranger team to tackle the biggest problem facing Ireland today. And what is that problem, you ask? Well, no, it's not the drug gangs who dismember teenagers.
Oh, that was bad, guys. I remember actually reading about that in the newspaper. That was horrendous. They filmed it and put it on a website. Guys, horrendous, man.
And leave their decapitated, chopped up remains strewn across several counties. Jeez. No, it's not the fact that half the country is staring down the barrel of energy poverty. It's not even the fact that house prices are continuing to rise further and further out of reach to where many young people may never realistically own their own home.
An average house price doesn't cost $305,000, guys, because by the time you pay off your mortgage, it'll be another $200,000 on top of that. Presuming that you have a 20-year mortgage in Ireland, which nobody, guys, let's be honest, come here. Nobody will basically have a house in Ireland. If you're 18 years old, guys, good luck, because working a regular job, $50,000 a year, forget about it. Just forget about it. And I know a lot of people have the inherited, wealth and stuff like that, but if you don't have that, forget about that, guys.
No, it may actually be worse than all of that combined. The real danger facing this country, according to the government, is people on the internet saying things that Irish politicians don't think is true. As reported by The Independent this week, government sets up group to counter spread of false and harmful material. A group tasked with fighting misinformation and disinformation has been set up by the government in a bid to reduce the spread of false and harmful material. While the group is not the government's direct response to recent anti-immigration protests and the spread of anti-immigration sentiments online, it is a part of a state strategy to combat false information as a whole. The strategy will examine evolving threats, types of misinformation and disinformation, and consider how they can be targeted. Well, God help us, that does sound dangerous in fairness now. A granny in Roscommon posting something that's not 100% accurate on Telegram? Well, that's definitely a threat that needs targeting by the state.
I don't have Telegram. I actually don't even know what that is. Is it like Twitter? I use X, guys. So, hit me up on X, DM me, tell me what you guys think. Yeah, that's crazy, guys. So basically, they're setting up groups. I don't know if it's like a Gardaí thing or whatever to protect people from spreading malinformation. Which in a sense, when you first hear that, you're like, that kind of sounds not too bad. And then the wheels start turning, the cog starts turning up. Wait a second. Does that actually sound good? Because then now they can just censor all material. And what can be classified as censored material? So, real not good, guys.
In fact, I don't even know if the Garda Armed Response Unit will cut it for this one, lads. I think we might need to get America on the phone and call in the Navy SEALs or something. Truly
Dude, this guy is a troll. I actually love Ben, bro. This guy's a troll. Ben, gotta have me on your show, man. I would love to collaborate. This dude, I love it, guys. Yeah, man, we gotta get the Navy SEALs on the phone. Like, is there actually anyone that's posting a real threat to the government in Ireland? Because if there is, guys, we'd probably know about it. You know what I mean? If there's any... They said there was like 50 people that were like actual terrorists in the country, and they know who they are. You know what I mean? And this was, and it's a sort of a, you know, very specific type, right? So like, I suppose the people would know if you're posting wild stuff on the internet. Like, do you know what I mean? You don't have to create a new task force. It's like, it's not that serious for misinformation, guys. If I post something on the internet that's incorrect accidentally, you know, it's most of the time it's a mistake, right? It's not like you have to call the Navy SEALs up.
Terrifying stuff. Now, of course, the problem here is that in order to ban so-called misinformation, you have to know categorically what the truth is yourself. And last time I checked, the government aren't omniscient celestial deities with access to all knowledge in the universe. They don't have a crystal ball. They rely entirely on experts, many of whom contradict themselves every 5 minutes, depending on which way the wind is blowing. For example, here's Professor Luke O'Neill in February of 2020 telling us all how masks are utterly useless unless you yourself are infected with COVID.
If you're not infected, no reason to wear a face mask. 2 reasons. One, people fidget with it anyway, you know. And secondly, it goes in through the eyes as well. It's an evil...
Dude, he looks like a sort of a mad scientist in like a cartoon character or something. You know what I mean? And I'm phrasing my words correctly because you can actually get banned for insulting people, but I'm saying he looks like, not saying he is, now you understand? So, but yeah, he looks like this kind of mad scientist, like, you know, the guy who made Frankenstein, like, whoa, Frankenstein, you know, like, just crazy. I will say one thing, guys, about the masks, they probably were okay for, let's say, because I'm a fair guy, probably if you, like, were sneezing a lot, or if you, like, you know, you're in a car maybe with someone, or you're, like, you know, maybe you're close to someone, you know, whatever. But it came out that now the bacteria is so small that it could actually penetrate through the mask. So then it's like, is it really doing anything type of thing, you know? They were saying you have to wear it outside on the beach type of job, and it's like, guys, we're kind of losing our minds here. Like, it probably, like, yeah, it probably help, like, if you're in close vicinity, maybe, I don't know, you know what I mean? Maybe, like, you're flipping, you know, you're sick, and, you know, maybe it spread the physical, you know, snot from your nose if you sneezed. But apart from that, does it, you know what I mean? So, yeah, it's not... This dude's just backtrack central.
Virus, it'll penetrate the eyes, and that's not covered anyway, you know. So there's no evidence that wearing a face mask will protect you at all. The main reason is to stop you spreading it, which is very important.
Yeah,
to stop it going to the
but
community.
there's no need, if you don't have this.
No, there's no need to wear a face mask. Absolutely not.
At all.
At all.
Meanwhile, here is Luke O'Neill in September of that same year, just a few months later, saying literally the exact opposite.
So what it's all about is, it turns out if you're wearing a mask, now we know masks work. I mean, the scientific evidence is so compelling now. Anybody who denies masks, show me the scientific evidence against it, because the evidence on the other side is so strong. And now they're saying, look, there's something else about masks that might actually promote immunity.
If you're not convinced and you'd like more examples of experts doing U-turns and getting things blatantly wrong, just look at almost every modelling prediction ever made by Neffit. Those lads couldn't have been more wrong if they tried, as outlined in this article. They made factual errors like it was a sport. They were the grand poobahs of getting things wrong. And the HSE even used and abused misinformation labelling systems on social media throughout the pandemic. For example, as Gript's Gary Kavanagh revealed in this article on Twitter, the HSE reported material from The Hill, Politico, ABC, The New York Times, The New York Post, Reuters, the British Medical Journal, and many more outlets as a so-called misinformation. And obviously Gript was included on that list as well, as you can well imagine. And why were these outlets flagged to social media by the HSE, you might ask? Well, because many of them reported that there may be some link, in some cases, between blood clotting and the you-know-what. This, according...
Yeah, that is a weird one, guys. We're talking about, backtracking from that a little bit, because I don't know if we're allowed to even talk about that, but, you know, you guys can do your own research on that. When it comes to, like, the weather, let's say, there's like a storm, it's a stormy day it's pretty stormy outside today, right? Very stormy, actually. And you know, the weather you actually can't even predict, guys. I'm not always specifically targeting Met Aaron and stuff like that. I don't really have a vengeance against any of these big corporations, but predicting the weather is like a 99% inaccuracy. You can't really predict the weather if it's going to go up, down. It's like the stock market, you know, like he says in The Wolf of Wall Street, up, down, sideways, or in circles. Nobody knows, guys. We're making predictions, so like to say, oh, ban this guy because he got this wrong, it's kind of unfair, guys. Like, you're allowed to do mistakes. When we were kids, guys, we were allowed to make mistakes. We were allowed to be wrong sometimes. Oh, it's okay, little Johnny. It's okay. You know, 10 years old. It's okay. You made a mistake. We can rub it out with an eraser. We can, you know, help you. And, you know, everyone was caring and they brought you up. Now, if you at all question anything as an adult, or if you make a mistake, it's just, oh, kill him, take him out back, shoot him. It's just gone crazy, guys. It's gone absolutely ludicrous.
To the HSC was harmful so-called misinformation, except of course the European Medicines Agency has since confirmed that this was actually true, and yet the HSC at the time confidently labelled it misinfo because they didn't agree with it at that precise moment. So if even scientists can get major policy decisions wrong in their own field of expertise, then how exactly is the government going to know what's misinformation and what isn't?
Well, science is the biggest misinformation of all time, and I don't want to be stopping this too much because everybody gives out to me in the comments, but like, people say heart disease and cancer are the two biggest killers. Let's take heart disease, atherosclerosis and stuff. They say it's caused by meat. One side they say it's caused by this. It's high fat, high calories, sugar, and then on the other side it's like sugar and like veganism is not good. You're not getting enough nutrients to your arteries that will, you know, cause clots and all this stuff. So like, there's such a disparity and there's such a big difference between, you know, heart disease and this kind of thing. You don't really know what causes heart disease. People can assume that because there's like 500, you know, articles on heart disease as it's the #1 killer in the world. Everyone watching this is going to die of heart disease pretty much. Like, there's so much, you know, information on either side that you don't really know what causes it. We don't really know what causes it. We know what causes it, like high cholesterol to an extent, but when it gets down to the nuance, like can you eat carnivore, can you eat veganism, it's really hard to actually get precise information what actually causes heart disease. So be very careful when it comes to science as well.
And all of this, by the way, is assuming that they're acting in good faith and even trying to get things right. Because after all, this is the same government that wants to censor true info that it finds embarrassing. Last year, everyone saw the now infamous video allegedly showing Fine Gael leader Leo Varadkar kissing a man in a nightclub. Now, I didn't talk about that at the time because I don't really care about it that much. What politicians do or don't do in their personal lives is generally boring to me. And not.
That's okay, Ben. Because you didn't talk about it, I'll talk about it for you, brother. Check it out, guys. I was thinking about this one the last day. And it's funny because now he has a husband or a partner, whatever the case may be. And although nobody cares, and I don't care personally, you can do what you want. Consenting adults, that's fine. But I will say this, guys. I will say this. If that was a man kissing a woman and he had a wife back home, let's just call it how it is, guys. They would be they'd be fired from their job. They'd be like brought to the media. So yes, it matters, guys, because then the wife would say you were cheating on me and stuff like that. And I don't know what his husband said or whatever to that, but that's what would happen if you had a wife. So it's completely, it's like a two-way street, guys. Pretty unfair if you ask me. Very unfair.
Not that relevant to their policies. I'd much rather talk about the government's plans which directly impact our lives rather than some guy's alleged infidelity. It was stupid and tedious when the Irish media constantly went after Donald Trump for his alleged personal failings, and I think that this is pretty tiresome as well for the same reason.
You know, men will be men. No, I'm just joking, guys. I'm gonna throw some humor in there, but you know what I mean, guys? If that was a dude, if it was like Trump, and I don't really care too much about Trump, but I'm saying if that was like, I don't know, some other guy, sports guy. What's that guy that, you know, the sports coach for hurling coach for Mayo, or the big guy? You know, if he cheated on his wife now, that would be the whole media. He'd probably lose his marriage, lose his house, he'd lose everything. Like, you know, because of what the media would put on him. Like, the media would portray him such an evil guy, whereas our media said nothing. They were like, no, it's illegal to actually even talk about that. Come on, bro. If I'm a nobody, but if I did that, I'm sure some people would make videos about it or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's ridiculous.
That's just my opinion. But whatever you thought of that Varadkar video, I think everyone can agree that there was no reasonable basis for censoring it, which is exactly what Micheál Martin proposed after its release, as reported by the Indo. New era of strict social media rules is now imminent, says Micheál Martin in the wake of Leo Varadkar video. Taoiseach Micheál Martin has warned that a new era of stricter rules around social media is imminent. He was speaking in the wake of the controversy surrounding Leo Varadkar being covertly recorded in a nightclub. In an interview,
but they could also have a relationship where you like get with loads of people. I know loads of people. Well, I don't know loads of people. I know a few people on YouTube that they have partners, but they're allowed to get with other people, sleep with other people as well. So you have to be kind of nuanced about it. So like they don't even know what they're talking about. They're just making up rules.
Interview with the Indo Daily podcast, Mr. Martin condemned the intrusion into Mr. Varadkar's private life, saying what happened was a breach of privacy fundamentally. Now, in what possible dimension is a nightclub considered a private place?
Dude, Ben is troll, bro. I love it. Like, guys, if you're running up to somebody's window in their house with a video camera, oh, what's going on here? And maybe they're sleeping together. Absolutely, that's completely breach of privacy. We're talking about a nightclub. There's nightclubs that hold like 1,000 people. What are we talking about here?
We're in a room with hundreds of absolute strangers. It's not like somebody peeked into Varadkar's window and filmed him through the curtains in his own home or something.
Bro, I actually beat him to it. I beat him to it.
If you go to a nightclub or a pub and you do something, you know that it's going to be seen by other people by definition. I'm not saying that he'd ever do this, and I'm sure he wouldn't, but if hypothetically Micheál Martin had been filmed making out with some woman who wasn't his wife at a nightclub, the public would obviously have a right to comment on that, because he would have made it public by doing it in a public forum. You notice that when British Health Secretary Matt Hancock got caught having an affair in 2021, the Irish media was more than happy to report on that case, as you can see here.
Yeah, exactly, guys. And he probably lost his marriage over that. He probably lost his kids, whatever. So like there's a lot of things around that that's not fair. It's a double standard was the word I was looking for.
Nobody said that it was a breach of privacy then. So this so-called breach of privacy line is just total nonsense on its face, and this is where things start to take a slightly more sinister turn. As the Independent's article with Micheál Martin continues, a video was posted on the social media platform TikTok of Mr. Varadkar in a nightclub and was viewed millions of times before it was removed. Mr. Martin said that he believed society had not fully worked out what impact the social media would have on our lives or on public debate and politics. I think we are now entering into a new era where there'll be far more regulation of social media platforms.
Hold on a second. He said we have not fully worked out what the impact of social media would be on our lives or on public debate or politics. Now he said this in 2022, guys. Seriously? Social media has been around since 2008, guys, or 2006 or something. When did Facebook come out? 2004, 2008, 11? Whatever it is, it's at least 10 years old. So, Jesus, get with the times, man. I mean, we're talking about 10 years old, bro. Come on. People have made millions from social media. What the hell is going on here?
He added. So a politician is allegedly caught on camera supposedly being unfaithful to their partner, i.e. one of the most classic political scandals in human history. We all know about cases like Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky, and that's just one prominent modern example. These things have been happening since the dawn of time. And so this video gets shared on social media and viewed millions of times by the public, and the government's reaction is to censor social media going forward to prevent people from seeing this type of info. And note that Varadkar himself never denied the video's authenticity. Nobody in government has claimed that it's fake or that it's doctored or anything. So literally the only reason they want it removed is that they find it embarrassing.
Like if you said it was AI, I would even be like, okay, maybe I can half believe that. Because AI, people do stuff with AI. Okay. But if it's not even that, then like what the heck? It's just whatever. It's just like, bro, come on, just own your mistakes and stuff. You know, it's all good.
We now live in a country where the government openly wants to censor information, not because it's false, but because it makes them look bad. And these are the people who want to be given the right to decide what constitutes hate speech under law. These are the people who want to decide what is misinformation and control our national discourse. Yeah, I don't think so. And this line from Micheál Martin in the Indo article was particularly telling as well. The Taoiseach said that he read some of the online comments about him and his government from a research perspective and to investigate where certain lines of attack were coming from.
I read my hate comments, bro. I do it. I don't do it for research purposes. I do it to get me fired up for the day.
I'm interested in going through some of the commentary to see where they're coming from. Is that a far-right kind of trend?
What?
Who's engineering it? It seems like a lot of the reactions can be engineered, he added. So apparently the only reason you would ever want to give negative commentary on Micheál Martin and his government is if you're a far-right individual and being quote-unquote engineered, whatever that means.
That's insane. So what engineered? He means bots, guys, like Russian bots interfering with like different things. And on YouTube, guys, they only give you love. They give you like a lot of love and comments of love. They don't give you hate. Like, you know what I mean? If you buy them, you know what I mean? One of my friends told me, and he has a channel, he like puts subscribers to people. I've never bought any subscribers, just by the way, or any views ever, or deleted comments, guys. That's a big question I get. Do I ever delete comments? No, never delete comments ever, guys. So yeah, this is ridiculous, man.
This reminds me of comments a while back by the leader of the Shannon Fine Gael Senator Regina Doherty, who said that insulting politicians online, quote, needs to stop.
A number of colleagues have talked today about the abuse, and I can only say what feels like it has gone from maybe third level or third gear, maybe into sixth gear of politicians at every level. Even political sympathisers and supporters seem to now think it's fair game to give their tuppence worth to our elected representatives. The discourse is available.
I wish that I had that rule, guys. I get hate, not daily, but at least weekly. And I just laugh at it. I'm like, that's kind of good crack. You know what I mean? How can you be so sensitive and you're a political figure? Guys, please get these people out of power and vote for me, guys. I'll run for election one day. My policies and advisors will be amazing, bro. Way better.
On a daily basis on all of our social media channels. It's now in our inboxes, and it has to stop. We talked here a number of weeks ago about trying to encourage more women into national life, into public life, to encourage more younger people into public life. You'd want to be absolutely off your bloody rocker to encourage any of our children to come into this life and to have to put up with the abuse that we have to put up with on a daily basis. But the only people that are going to change it is us, and we need to do something about it, and I think that needs to start with the debate with the Minister for Justice in the next couple of weeks that I will organise.
What does she mean by that, though? Because like I get hate every single day because I choose to publicly put myself out there. You know, you get the good with the bad. The thing about being a politician, social media, is you get tons of money, maybe a lot of love, but you can also get a lot of hate. It can go both ways, guys. Like, that's just the world, guys. How are you gonna censor comments? Like, I don't really get that.
Ever heard such staggering elitism in your life? It goes without saying that nobody should threaten politicians, obviously. You shouldn't.
Yeah, like, you shouldn't be threatening anyone, guys. That's ridiculous anyway. Like, I've never left a comment threatening a guy or doing something crazy, you know what I mean, on a public, like, YouTube or something like that. That'd be wild. You know,
threaten anyone, but you know that's not what she's talking about here, because at the end she mentioned that she's reaching out to the Justice Minister to deal with it, presumably to draft some new legislation. But threats are already a crime under Irish law.
Yep.
Obviously, if someone is threatening you as a public official, you can just call the police. So she can't be talking about threats here and must instead be referring to insults and criticism, as in people.
Yeah, we call that slagging here in Ireland, guys. You're just slagging. I'm just slagging. But it's like, yeah, that's slagging is like one thing, I suppose. But if you're like death threatening someone, it's pretty bad, guys. Unless they deserve it, you know, of course. I'm just joking, guys.
People emailing their local representative to tell them that they're a useless bollocks and they've ruined the country or something along those lines. Now, do I support people being gratuitously offensive to politicians? Well, no, I don't. I've been on the receiving end of plenty of abuse and it's never pleasant. But at the end of the day, that's
Me too. But I just laugh at it. I don't know how people get upset about that. I don't really care. Like, since I was like 22, I don't care about that kind of stuff. It's like, whatever. You know what I mean? Unless they know you personally and are like trying to like do something to you, that's handled differently now. We handle that differently. But if it's just some random guy or some guy across the road, just like it's like doesn't matter, guys.
What you sign up for as a public figure.
Yeah.
That's called free speech and living in a free society.
Yep.
Being able to tell the leader of your country that they're an Egypt and not get a visit from the secret police because you dared to criticize the dear leader. Whatever you think of his politics, and I don't think much, Arnold Schwarzenegger had a great take on this when he was running for governor of California and a protester hit him with an egg.
But just because you're a megastar doesn't mean everyone's pleased to see you.
About this reaction, you got hit by an egg. What do you think of it?
Well, this guy owes me bacon now. I mean, there's no two ways about it, because, I mean, you can't just have eggs without bacon. But this is just all part of, you know, the free speech. I think it's great. You see these people here screaming out. Imagine you're in some communist state or some dictatorship. You couldn't do that. That's why I love this country. And you have to take the whole package when you love something. I think that California is great. I think America is great. Everyone can speak out. Everyone, there's freedom of speech. That's what creates the ultimate of democracy. So I believe in that, and I welcome that.
Amazing speaker, bro. I love Arnold Schwarzenegger. What an amazing input by Ben there to put Arnold Schwarzenegger in there. Like, guys, he's the GOAT. You know, he just made a joke of it. Yes, guy owes me bacon now. You know, they're just throwing things, eggs, whatever. He